This evening, first, major progress in Ghana's education sector as a new 3-year salary increase agreement is finalized for teachers. We'll break down what this means for educators and the future of our schools. Next, the skies are busier than ever. Ghana's aviation sector is not only back to pre-pandemic levels, but it is soaring to new heights. Discover how the government is stepping up to support this growth. Then in Bartica, police crackdown on drug trafficking, seizing over a kilogram of cannabis in multiple operations. We have the latest on these significant arrests. Also, empowering communities through construction. Find out how a new block-making project in B Field Sophia is offering residents a pathway to income and stability. And international pressure mounts on Venezuela's President Maduro to release election vote tallies. What's next in this unfolding political drama? Stay tuned for these stories and more coming up on tonight's broadcast. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for August 21st, 2024. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, the Ghana Teachers Union and the Ministry of Education have finalized their 3-year salary increase agreement that includes various non-salary benefits. The agreement was confirmed earlier today, with salary increases set at 10% for 2024, 8% for 2025, and 9% for 2026. Union President Dr. Mark Light confirmed that the percentages match those previously accepted by the GTU's General Council, making renegotiation or additional increases unlikely. According to Dr. Light, the General Council's acceptance of the proposed increase made it impossible for negotiation teams to pursue further changes. In a statement, the GTU explained that the General Council had instructed the union executives to accept the proposed salary and non-salary packages following a majority vote on August 9, 2024. GTU President Dr. Light, Second Vice President Julia Cambridge, Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary Shaneli Hussein Autar, and the Chief Education Officer Saddam Hussein signed the agreement today. The package includes salary increases and non-salary benefits such as allowances, duty-free concessions, housing support, scholarships, clothing allowance, health coverage, and additional benefits for hinterland and riverine areas. Negotiations between the Ghana Teachers Union and the Ministry of Education began following a 2-month teachers' strike that ended in late June. The strike began on February 5th of 2024 and was driven by teachers' demands for higher salaries and better working conditions. A court-mediated process in March temporarily halted discussions when the ministry cited a lack of fiscal space for retroactive increases from 2019 to 2023. Talks then focused on potential increases for 2024 and beyond, leading to the recent agreement. On a different note, the Minister of Public Works, Bishop One Edgehill, announced that Guyana's aviation sector has not only returned to pre-pandemic activity levels, but is also showing significant growth. Meanwhile, the Eugene Korai International Airport sees around 4,800 operations per month, marking a 10% increase in traffic. The government has responded to this growth by enhancing aviation infrastructure and capacity, including improvements in air traffic management systems and the automatic weather station at CGIA. The Ghana Civil Aviation Authority is also working towards accreditation with the International Civil Aviation Organization's Train Air program, aligning local standards with global benchmarks. These efforts are to support and sustain the aviation sector's expansion, further integrating Ghana into the global aviation network. Moving on, police operations in Bartica yesterday led to the seizure of over 1,000 grams of suspected cannabis and the arrest of 2 individuals. In separate incidents, law enforcement officials uncovered significant quantities of marijuana. The first operation took place at a business premises on 7th Avenue, Bartica, where 34 grams of cannabis were found. Police discovered 41-year-old Travis Dover engaged in packaging the drug into Ziploc bags. Dover was arrested and remains in custody as investigations proceed. Later in the day, another operation at Bartica Arcade resulted in the seizure of 74 grams of cannabis. Police observed Kenny Spencer, known for his jewelry shop at the arcade, discarding a plastic bag containing 35 Ziploc packets of suspected cannabis before fleeing the scene. Efforts to apprehend Spencer are ongoing. Additionally, a raid conducted between 5 and 6 p.m. at 7th Street, Bartica, led to the arrest of 32-year-old Javid Bash, who was found with just over 1,000 grams of suspected marijuana. Bash was caught disposing of the drug as police approached. He was detained and is under investigation for possession with intent to sell. The operations underscore the ongoing efforts by local authorities to combat drug trafficking in the region. Stick around when we return. Block-making community project launched in Bayfield, Sophia, and GWI making steady improvements in water quality in central Georgetown.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for Bara for doing surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized gear, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown, telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. A new block-making community project was launched in Bayfield, Sophia on Tuesday, August 20th, offering residents a chance to produce concrete blocks and earn income through the community-based employment stimulation project. Initiated by President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali in 2021, the project began in Tiger Bay and has since expanded. At the launch, the minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodriguez, emphasized the project's role in supporting the ministry's housing efforts. The initiative will provide residents with training in block making, life skills, financial management, and leadership. The Central Housing and Planning Authority will facilitate market connections and transportation for the blocks produced. Similar projects have already benefited communities like Leopold Street, where residents formed a company and secured a CHPA contract to build houses. Residents of Bayfield, Sophia expressed interest, and certificates of participation will be awarded upon completing the training. In other news, The Ghana Water Incorporated has reported ongoing improvements in water quality in central Georgetown following challenges at its shelter belt operations. Works were done to cleanse the canals and flush the water systems to improve quality. Daily monitoring and testing have shown significant progress in water clarity and supply. The issue began a month ago due to high sedimentation levels caused by dredging activities and heavy rains, which affected the water supply from the East Demerara Conservancy. JWI noted the following areas: Stabroek, Regent Street, Hatfield, and Alberton are experiencing high quality levels of water clarity, while neighborhoods further along the distribution network, including Kitty and Charlestown, are seeing gradual improvements. In response, GWI has deployed technical teams and is actively flushing the network to enhance water quality. Don't go away after the break. Let's get to work. Barack Obama takes the stage for Kamala Harris at DNC, and the DRC still awaits vaccines as Mpox spreads.
Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized care, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Crow Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for Bara for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton, and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. The Caribbean Examination Council has reported a significant rise in exam misconduct during the May-June 2024 sessions, with 54 incidents, up from 36 in 2023. Cases include unauthorized cell phones, cheating, and students impersonation. Nicole Manning, CXC's Director of Operations, highlighted one severe case where a candidate impersonated another student, leading to disqualification and a 2-year ban. The Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate exams saw the most violations, increasing from 19 cases in 2023 to 49 in 2024. Meanwhile, international pressure is growing for Venezuela's president to release to the public the vote tallies from last month's election. But so far, Nicolas Maduro is ignoring those calls. Instead, he's promoting a series of laws that would further target his opponents. Al Jazeera's Lucia Newman reports.
Amid increasing pressure for Venezuela's President Nicolás Maduro to prove that he did indeed win last month's contested elections, he is demanding that the National Assembly fast-track the approval of a law that would give authorities additional powers to target political opponents. It's called the Law Against Fascism, Neo-Fascism, and Other Similar Expressions, which would allow the state to imprison, fine, and or confiscate property from people or organizations that are considered to be promoting violence and hatred in their political activities.
You all know what fascism is. It's hatred, intolerance turned into violence. That's why I've asked the National Assembly to quickly approve this law.
Andres Isarra, a former member of Maduro's cabinet, now in self-imposed exile, calls it the legal basis for a dictatorship.
The Nazi Germany had the Nuremberg laws, and now this law against fascism, which is basically gives the government power to go against anything. Anything they want to call fascist, they'll go against, although you can very easily claim that the fascists are in government.
This comes on the heels of last week's approval of a law that would substantially curtail and control NGOs, such as those that monitor human rights violations, unlawful arrests, and state corruption. Government opponents and the UN rapporteur for Venezuela were quick to describe the law as a further erosion of the rights of civil society in Venezuela. Amnesty International says, quote, it will jeopardize the very existence and functioning of community, humanitarian, and human rights organizations with its ambiguous articles. Maduro is not alone. His close ally, President Daniel Ortega of Nicaragua, closed down 1,500 NGOs just this week, and has been confiscating buildings, equipment, and other property belonging to non-government organizations, including the Catholic Church, for several years. Meanwhile, the European Union says it will not recognize Maduro's electoral victory.
We can't accept unverifiable results.
International pressure, however, has so far failed to persuade Maduro to turn over the vote tallies. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera.
Former United States President Barack Obama has taken to the stage of the Democratic National Convention in a show of support for Kamala Harris in her 11th hour bid to become the country's next president in November's election. Al Jazeera's White House correspondent Kimberly Hackett reports.
Barack and Michelle Obama took center stage on the second night of the Democratic National Convention.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling fired up. I am feeling ready to go.
The former president made a forceful case for Kamala Harris as the next U.S. president, while slamming her Republican opponent, Donald Trump.
We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse.
But it was the former First Lady, Michelle Obama, who really stole the show with her attacks on Trump.
His limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of 2 hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black.
She told the crowd Harris is not only a woman of color, but also one of the most qualified people to seek the presidency. She took a shot at Trump's repeated claim that immigrants are taking so-called black jobs.
Who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
But the Obamas weren't the only stars of the night. The Democratic Party also called on actors, directors, and famous musicians to campaign for Harris. Unlike the first night of the convention, Kamala Harris wasn't officially present. She was in the battleground state of Wisconsin, campaigning from the very same stage where 1 month ago Donald Trump accepted the Republican presidential nomination.
We are so honored to be your nominees. This is a people-powered campaign. and together we will chart a new way forward. I'll see you in 2 days, Chicago.
On Wednesday, former President Bill Clinton will address Democratic delegates, and Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz will deliver his acceptance speech. Kimberly Helkett, Al Jazeera, Chicago.
Finally, the World Health Organization is stressing that the spread of a variant of the Mpox virus is not a new COVID because authorities know how to control it. There is only one case in Kenya, but there are fears that numbers could rise because there's not enough information and there aren't enough vaccines. Al Jazeera's Stephanie Decker reports.
Educating people about Mpox. This camp in Goma is the epicenter of a recent outbreak of the Mpox virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It spread silently across borders and continents. This child has been diagnosed with the virus, but in this poor conflict-ravaged region, he can't be isolated from others.
I'm afraid because I have many kids and all of them are sleeping together, even the one who is under Mpox treatment since last week.
Educating communities about the threat is important, as very little help has arrived here.
We need to get the right information out to the people who are immediately at risk, as well as those who are likely to panic.
Kenya has had one case, a truck driver traveling from Uganda. This is one of the main testing labs in the country.
The virus is probably spreading through the travel routes that people use for traveling, especially from countries that are affected with the virus, like Democratic Republic of Congo. So the people of concern are like truck drivers and business people who travel long distances.
Kenya has begun screening travelers across its borders and formed a rapid response team that includes educating communities. But here too, it's apparent that more awareness and education is needed.
Many Kenyans don't know the symptoms of this disease. It's very similar to chickenpox, which my children got. We need the government to send community health workers to educate people in what to look out for.
Not just education, but a more robust international response, a week into the warnings about the virus being sounded.
We can and must tackle Mpox together, across regions and continents. So will we choose to put the systems in place to control and eliminate Mpox globally, or we will enter another cycle of panic and neglect. How we respond now and in the years to come will prove a critical test for Europe and the world.
And what does that interpret?
We put that to the Director of Virus Research in Nairobi. Do you think enough attention is being put from the international community who have the vaccines on the epicenter, on the DRC? Vaccines haven't arrived.
Enough attention is not being put on that because from the COVID-19 experience, we learned that vaccines are very important in prevention of spread of the virus. If we limit the spread of the virus, then we can contain it. But if you're not providing the vaccines to the people who need it, then it will be very difficult to contain it if it becomes a pandemic.
So far, no vaccines have arrived. Stephanie Decker, Al Jazeera, Nairobi, Kenya.
This brings us to the end of the regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's it to the 2 Headline News for this Wednesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.